now tuned into the greatest.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sage Billy podcast. This is the Man Cave. And, like you already know, we're here with Anonymous. And today's topic will be something in regards what you actually need, not only for your survival if you're getting a woman, but also for your own survival, yeah?
Yeah.
Because we'll be basically talking about what you actually need to survive, but what you actually need to survive if you have a woman with you. Mm-hmm. Because there's no point in us telling you, like, this is how you get a woman and you have no way in keeping her. What do you think about that?
No, it makes a lot of sense. First and foremost, I think it's very important to in anything to start with the basics, and the very basic of basics is you need to be able to work on yourself. You need to have worked on everything about yourself first before you can go outside and try to develop connections or social networks with other people. So before working on external things, I think you need to have a very strong base in already having worked on yourself. So I think this applies in everything. I think it applies in relationships and in life in general. You know? So yes, I actually agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. So if you weren't there in our last episode, we actually had this wholesome topic where we were talking about how you should be grounded by yourself, yeah? How you should be completely comfortable going out, talking with others, more like building networks, yeah? So on this episode, we'll be talking about you should have value that you're giving to your networks for you to gain value. But in actuality, we'll actually be talking about how money will work hand in hand with you and your relationships in general, and specifically your relationship with your partner. That's what we'll be talking about. So to kick us off, I'll actually start with a backstory for me when I was in high school. Yeah, high school during funkies, you didn't have much. You only had two things. You had game, or you didn't have game. Oh, three things, and you had money. That was basically the basics, yeah. Personally, I never felt comfortable if I'm going for a funky or we are hosting a funky, yeah. I'm with a girl, alafu, let's say I'm hungry. Like I leave the girl, go get something, then I'm eating something and she's not having anything. I never felt comfortable in such kind of a situation. The only time I'd feel comfortable is when we were together. I told her we are hungry. Then I asked her, you want something? Then she's like, no, I'm good. That was the only time I was comfortable eating while she was not eating anything. And this actually trickled down to like uni, college. It actually trickled down everywhere. Personally, I don't think you would ever be comfortable, yeah? Mm-hmm. You're with someone, a guy, a dude, you name it, eh? And you technically can't contribute to what people have. Even when guys go out drinking, people are usually like, we're contributing, tunachanga. And if you're utterly and completely comfortable, hapo people are contributing, and you are removing shillings from your pocket, and you invited yourself. It's not like you were invited. You know, there's those that they invite you and you're like, I don't have money. Who asked you about money? There are those scenarios. But I'm talking about this scenario where you join the guys. You ask, hey, form ni wapi leo? Then they're like, we're going to this place. So you go there empty-handed. You technically never feel comfortable in such kinds of scenarios.
Yeah, no, it goes a long way. I think generally, the best way to move around in life is to have so much value that you build value in yourself, so that wherever you go, you're giving value to people. Mm-hmm. The first thing is you don't come with like even with people who have more than you do, whenever you're approaching them, you come with an attitude of, this is what I offer. And you don't have to say it in a very transactional way or blah, 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 but offer something, you know. Be able to work on yourself to the point where you can, you're at a, say you said something about a social gathering, and you have some, say you have some, like mchango for something. You should be able to, I don't know, I also wouldn't feel comfortable to be in such a situation and not be able to contribute to it. You know, it means maybe you're in the wrong circle. You know, maybe you don't, you know, especially if this happens, you know, regularly, you don't really fit, and you should find somewhere where like other people are also not very comfortable giving money, and that should be your circle, you know. And it doesn't mean if you don't have much, you can't hang out with people who have a lot, but then in that situation, be able to offer something else, you know. And it doesn't have to be very transactional, but have some value you're offering. You can even offer jokes. If your jokes are at the same par with the kind of money that they're offering for the drinks or the food, then it's fine. You have to be exceptionally funny, maybe for exceptionally expensive food and drinks, but like offer something. You know, it's always, and that's why trade has always been there from the beginning of time. You know, you come with beans, I come with cows, or maize, or whatever, and we exchange. You know, and that works in everything, and especially so with, in my opinion, when it comes to relationships and intersexual dynamics. I feel like with women, or between men and women, even though you don't want to agree to it, even though maybe you feel uncomfortable by looking at it in this way, it's very transactional, right? What do you offer, and what does she offer? Does she find you attractive because of the things that you're offering, and does he find you attractive because of the things you're offering? Right? Because it has always been an exchange of, and this is the main point. Has always been the major point, and for most of humanity, at least, you might say, oh, you know, this does not apply to me because, or this does not apply to my special one because she's a unicorn, or blah blah blah. But in my opinion, I feel like, okay, fine, most generalizations or all generalizations are wrong, right? Because you can't generalize everyone. But I would say almost all situations, meaning maybe 90 to even 99% situations, is men are looking for a continuity of their genes, right? So when you're looking for a mate, maybe just a girlfriend or a long-term wife, or, you know, or just a one-night stand, you're always looking at her physicality. Like, what does she offer? Unless you have ulterior motives or something that is not common. But if your motives are like most other motives, and you want sex, probably, you know, or you want a long-term relationship where maybe you're getting kids and you want somebody to rear those kids for you, to nurture a home and everything, then you're looking at certain attributes. You're looking at how, does she have childbearing hips, maybe, you know, or does she have an attractive body? Will she produce attractive children, which will also be attractive to other mates, other offsprings of other parents, you know, so that my genes can continue being reproduced? Because humans are just like any other organism, you know. So in my opinion, what do you offer as a man? And maybe we'll discuss that today. And what do you offer as a woman? And how is it transactional? And blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have to be in the situation where you have like a sex worker and a sex pair or whatever. But if you were to look at it very honestly and very frankly, it's always been transactional. Always. Yeah. It has always been transactional.
You actually said that you have to be able to offer jokes, yeah?
Yeah.
It reminded me of this, Chris Rock had this comic, yeah? He was talking about how he got divorced, yeah?
Yeah.
So he was like, everyone in this courtroom wants my money. So, like, the way he joked about it, it was so wholesome, yeah? In the sense that my lawyer wants my money, my wife wants my money, my wife's lawyer wants my money, even the jury and the judges, they all want my money. It was quite wholesome.
Yeah.
And you figure that at the end of the day, money really ranks up there with oxygen.
Yeah, it does.
It's not everything, but it ranks there with oxygen.
It's money is like an enabler, you know. Money enables you to do certain things that you wouldn't be able to do if you don't have money. And at the end of the day, I mean, I think life is about freedom, right? The more money you have, the more free you are, you know, and the more able you are to do certain things, you know. It's not really about just what it can buy. It can even replace time. It's that strong, you know. It's like the more money you have, the more time you have in your hand, because you can decide, well, instead of spending a whole day traveling from Mombasa to Kisumu or wherever, or from Moyale to Nyeri, you can simply take a flight, you know, and that saves you several hours, you know, which are very valuable if you want to do something else, you know, and the most valuable thing in life is time, right?
Yeah,
because like everyone has very limited time. You probably have less than 100 years, roughly. So if you spend a lot of that time on the road, maybe because you have to travel a lot for your work or whatever, then you've wasted most of your life on a road. But if you have a lot of money, if you come from money, if you've made a lot of money, then you at least save a few hours every day, which you could turns up to many hours, you know.
You could do, if you're actually doing something. That's why, like, the first 2 episodes, we insisted that you find out things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Once you find out, this is what I want to do, I don't have money to do that. Let's say, I personally, I want to make music, I don't have that money to be going to the studio, like, Monday to Friday just to record. So, I figure out this is what I want to do. So, how will this other thing, how will the money enable me to do that? Because when I have money, at least I know I'll make my own studio, or I'll be going to the studio to record. So that reduces the amount of time that I'll be spending trying to figure out all these things out.
Yeah.
It's actually, it makes life easy for you.
Way easier. And I think for me, and this is just a personal opinion, I think for me, I see money as a substitute for time. It's substitutable for time. You can read a lot for something, or you can use money to gain whatever, you know. you can certain situations, it might take you a lot of time to be able to gain certain recognition, to gain somebody's approval so that they can listen to you. But if you have a lot of money, maybe you don't even have to have a lot of qualifications or recognition from that person. If you have a lot of money, they see you and they want to talk to you. So it shortens the amount of time that you need to invest in something so that they can listen to your words. If you have a lot of money, you can walk into certain doors that it would take you a long time and a lot of work to be able to actually deserve to walk into those doors. So I think for me, I think money is one of those things. It's substitutable for time. In US or in some of these highly developed countries, the general population is not extremely wealthy. However, they work for about 30 years or so, which is their whole career time, right? 30 or 40 years. Then they retire, and they use their whole retirement either, one, to buy a house, right? Because I've come to realize this. I listen to a lot of these news, and I follow a lot of whatever financial advice from some of these people, and you come to realize that most of the time they work their whole life to own a home, to just own a piece of plot with a house on it. They work their whole life. We find ourselves here, and we think maybe in Africa we don't have as much resource endowment, or we don't have as much money as they do. But the truth of the matter is, it's much cheaper for us to buy land and to build a house. Which means we can, as long as you do that, and you do that early enough, you're at par with somebody who's had to work 30 years to buy a built piece of property that costed him $200,000, which is 20 million. Here, if you have 3 million, you can get a very decent place, you know, and maybe it doesn't have to be in CBD, right? But even then, the $200,000 house is not in CBD wherever they are. In fact, it's slightly on the margins, you know, it's on the outskirts. So I think money and time for me, you know, money and time. If you have a lot of money, probably you wouldn't have to spend your 30, 40 years doing that career. You just buy the house and maybe you move on to other things. They work their whole lives so that they can have a huge provident fund from their retirement benefits so that they can go to a marginalized country somewhere like Kenya or Tanzania or somewhere where the cost of living is very low and they can go and retire and spend their whatever and look like they're very wealthy here. They're very wealthy here because they spent their whole life for that retirement package to come and look wealthy in Africa. You know, so in my opinion, that's all that beating around the bush and all these things. But money is very important. But money for me is a substitute for time. Money enables freedom. Money enables certain opportunities that will take you a lot of time and a lot of ability to be able to have the same opportunities.
You actually said something that made me like link it up with something. Yeah? So in football, there's this player. His name is Rashford. Yeah, who was awarded an accolade by a university. Yeah? How did he get this accolade? He's considered a graduate, and he has a certificate for donating cash to the kids. You will find that someone goes to the university, does projects, he actually goes, does undergrad, does grad, then goes to do the masters.
For a certificate.
Exactly.
To be acknowledged.
Exactly. But him, is it an MBA or something? OBE. He's got this accolade because he spent the money in empowering kids. Yeah? So money is quite important.
It's very important.
So now, since we've given that picture, we're going to slowly divert to our actual goal. Actual goal is you need to have money in order to sustain that girl. It's a need. It's not even a want. It's a need. Because personally, you wouldn't be comfortable this girl coming over to their house all the time. Even her, on the other hand, she'll be like, why isn't this guy taking me out? Why isn't this guy suggesting we go out for a walk or something of the sort? And going out for a walk, it can be you go to the CBD, then decide, oh, you're going to Ololua. Or you decide you're going to Safari Park. Or you're going to, like, basically anywhere out there. And all this requires money, by the way. You can't just be surviving like that. Yeah? She can decide, yes, I'll be stomaching some of the finances, but you yourself, you need to have something. We were having this conversation yesterday with the guys, yeah? They were like, taking a girl out on a date, it's heavy for a comrade. It's really heavy. So what guys usually do is like, they get a smoky, they get a girl, then they go to a smoker joint. The girl gets a smoker, he gets a smoker, then they walk around conversing while they are eating the smoker. After that, they take the girl to the house. At the end of the day, money was a major factor because he did the calculations and he was like, me taking her out on a date, this means I would go to town, maybe go to a restaurant. Fries at the restaurants are basically 100 bob. Smocha is 100 bob for the two of us, yeah? But that 100 bob in the restaurant, that's just one chips for her. I've not put myself in that mix as well. So he did like, he thought me was like, smocha will do. So, basically this is why I'm telling you, like, if you have money, it makes things much easier for you. It makes you diverse and it makes you even look adventurous, even if you're not adventurous.
I think it's very correct. I think money enables you to have certain opportunities. I believe first things first, you should always be working on yourself to have enough to provide for your needs, right?
Personally.
Personally, right? So the key word here is enough. What is enough for you? Once you have enough for you, then you can move out of that comfort zone and start looking for somebody else, And throughout seduction, whatever costs that are going into your dating or your seduction, those can still be considered your costs of entertainment, right? So those are not really costs that are shared costs or blah blah blah. Just consider them under costs of entertainment. So you can consider buying a movie ticket or buying smocha or buying somebody lunch at wherever it is, KFC or whatever. These are entertainment costs for yourself. Don't consider them as costs going outside of yourself, And then once you're moving into that region of relationships or long-term, whether short-term or long-term relationships, before you even consider being able to ask somebody if they can stay with you or you can start relating on a relationship basis, you need to ask yourself, do you have enough resource or income or whatever to handle a relationship, right? And then you need to find out what kind of relationship are you ready to have. Are you sharing costs? Are you footing all the bills? Are you, and once you decide what kind of relationship you're having, then you can also decide, now, do I have the kind of money to sustain this image that I have in my mind for this relationship, right? So, number one, you need to have enough for yourself, right? And enough for yourself means the seduction and the short-term relationships that are not really you living with somebody or you taking on too much of their financial burden. Maybe you just meet them once in a while, and that may involve or may not involve sexual intercourse or intimacy. But now that is your cost and handling yourself and your entertainment costs and everything else, right? But then now if you move to the area of, can I move in with somebody? Then that's a different area, and you need to find out, do I have enough money for this type of relationship? That's even before you get to a marriage. That also needs a different analysis. You need to sit down with yourself and you ask yourself, what kind of costs do I expect? And can I handle this cost on my own? Would I have to share them with somebody? And if I'm going to have to share them with somebody, is this the kind of person who's ready to share them with me? So all these are questions that you need to ask yourself, right? Of course. And that also maybe determines what kind of girl you can approach, right? I will say this though, when it comes to low-cost dates, they're not terrible compared to high-cost dates, right? Because I've had both types. When I was in university, which is when I started to actually learn more about girls, because I was clueless before university, right? Just before I joined university, I used to be clueless. I used to have opportunities and I didn't know what to do with them. I look back and I slap myself, face slaps. So, low budget dates can involve as little as 50 shillings, 100 shillings, 200 shillings, 500 shillings. That depends also on you. How you classify a low budget date is still on your ability or your earning capability or how much money you have, right? But for me, I came to realize that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong somewhere, but starting out, I also thought about it this way. Now listen to this. Your friend told you this, and maybe I also share some sentiments about the same. I used to think it doesn't make any sense to spend 1,500 shillings on a plate, or even as little as say 650 on a plate, or 500 shillings on a plate. One plate. That means it's double now for both of you. Right? And transportation, only to spend between 20 and 35 to 40 minutes on a table, sitting across from the lady. That means one, there's very little physical contact. Right? The only physical contact is probably before you enter or after you enter, right? Or after you're leaving, sorry. And then another thing is it's so limited. The time between you've made an order, they're preparing the food has come, you've eaten, and you're ready to leave. It's so little time, maximum maybe 1 hour, in my opinion. Maybe there are people who'd sit there and have drinks and talk for longer, but still, it's not as much time as you'd want it to be. So one, very little physical contact, depending on how you're sitting, right? Sitting arrangement. Secondly, very limited time, or it also depends on how you maneuver around that. You can still maneuver, but most of the times it's very little time because people finish eating very fast. The food will probably be ready very fast because probably it's a fast food restaurant. Thirdly, the cost is very high, right? Especially if you don't have a consistent source of income as a student or whatever, So these are three things. One, you're not touching. Right? Secondly, very limited time. And then thirdly, high cost. Compared to, now look at this alternative, and this is how I used to hack it when I was still an undergraduate.
with no income whatsoever, except for the money that I used to get from home for my pocket money, I used to go to public parks, right? Right? I don't mean like Uhuru Park or Central Park, but like, things like Aboreta, Karura, Ololua, and all these, all these types of places. Why? Because I will still spend the same amount of transportation as if I'm going to like a sit-in, like dinner or lunch date. Secondly, it's more probable that I will be able to find an excuse to be touching this girl every other minute. Like we're walking or we're turning or we're sitting. I can even tell her to sit on me. Like, you have so many excuses to touch her. And this for me has been one of the, like, it blew my mind. The more you touch, the more intimate the link between the two of you. The more you touch, it's not how much time you spend talking.
Together.
You can talk for 2 hours and I can touch this lady for about 10 minutes and I will have a huger effect than the 3-hour conversation. And this is a fact anywhere in the world. There are some conversations, of course, which are different, and maybe some people have stronger conversation skills than others. But on average, it is stronger to have a lot of physical contact than to have a lot of conversation. It is way stronger, right? Now, thirdly, so we covered same fare, right? But more contact now, right? And then, so the first issue was physical touch, which we've just covered with the comparison, the date and the other one. The second issue was time, right? Now, if you go to a public park or whatever, right? Who limits you on the amount of time you have there? In fact, you're the only one who limits yourself because how fast you walk or probably which route you take or how much time you want to sit, no one will be timing you. You don't even look weird for spending several hours there. You look weird if you're sitting on a table and you finished your food and the people are wondering, why aren't you vacating so other people can come in and eat? It looks weird if you're sitting at a and you're not taking as more drinks. Even at restaurants and bars and clubs. They want you to keep drinking, especially if they see your drink is not moving or if it's moved and it's at the bottom and you're not ordering. They usually get anxious and they want you to, either get something or get out, But in a park, you have a limited time and you can spend as little time or as much time as you want to. Then thirdly, so as you can tell before I even continue, I looked at this like an accountant. I was just like, I looked at the capital and then I looked at the returns and I was like, no, this is a scam, right? Now, I'll tell you this before I also continue. I'm comfortable with these dates. Right? I'm very comfortable. In fact, sometimes I can even decide very spontaneously, let's have something to eat out of nowhere. If I'm talking, and it's not because I'm trying to spend a lot of time with them. No, it's because I wanted to eat and maybe they were there with me and I'm like, why not eat together for a while and then we move on to whatever. Now I'm very comfortable because I have a lot of disposable income, right? And that gives you a certain sort of comfort. Now I can even go on dates because I don't mind going out on several dates now, right? Because before I used to feel like, okay, fine, I have 3,000 on me. This 3,000 can cover a date, but then I cannot take on another date. So if I only have this one date, I have to put in like my best. Like I have to put my best foot forward. Like I'm not messing around with this 3,000, right? But now I can go on several dates. Even in 1 week, I can go like thrice or whatever. And it's not because I feel limited by the cost. If it was limiting because of the cost, then I would have to change tactics. Right?
That's true.
Now the third thing was cost, as we're just even referring to right now. Cost limits, right? You want to spend as much time with this person who you're trying to get to know so that you can get to know them better, right? You can get to interact and maybe, get physically intimate with this person. If the cost is high and your income is not as high, then the cost limits how much time and opportunity you get to actually get physically intimate or even conversationally intimate with this person, right? However, if you choose to go to, like, say, a public park or whatever, there's very minimal cost, because cost when it comes to it's just the entrance fee. And how much is the entrance fee? The most expensive entrance fee, I don't know, probably would be, I'm just guessing, it's 200 or 250 or 300. That's probably the most expensive. And that's now. By the way, back then it was 50 bob. Most places, it was 50 bob. Yeah, you go in, and in fact, you don't even feel the pinch. And what do you carry? Maybe you carry a soda, maybe you carry a snack. And then snacks would cost you probably not even more than 150 shillings. So a soda was around 50 bob, like the 500 ml. And then what else? You carry, like a snack or something. Most expensive snack that was around that public spot would probably be 100 shillings. A snack would, and that's probably the most expensive. Maybe it's even, and hot dogs by then were around 50, 70 shillings. Not even 100 for now. Yeah. So it was very cost effective. So you might choose a cheaper date, not because you don't want to take her somewhere expensive, but it's because you are limited by the money in your pocket. And so it's very important sometimes how much money you have, right? But the money gives you a certain opportunity, right? It gives you more time to spend. It is not substitutable for game, though. You can spend a lot of time with this lady, but if you're speaking nonsense and you can't even touch her because you're afraid of her, you can have all the money and still she wouldn't feel the same way as somebody else who spent very little but has been doing all the right things. And this is the sort of ceteris particular sort of situation. It's like if you are the same person with, let's rate your game at like 75% or 96%. Let's say 83%. That's very good. That's good enough, right? That gets you good results consistently, right? You can get some bad ones, but everyone gets bad ones.
You can't hit everything.
Right? So you're at 83%, right? If with the same 83% you have more money, I assure you'll have way better results than you're the same person with the 83% game, but you have very little money. So with very little money, you have to put in more tactics. And yet, if you had still the more tactics and you had a lot of money, you would still have way more results. So you see, money is an enabler. It gives you certain opportunities that no money will not give you. You get? And so it's very important, as you said, and in these dynamics. And also, even just the fact that having more money, naturally, people assume, wow, he must be very hardworking, or wow, he must come from a very good background. And these are all very attractive things. One, if you come from a very good background, that means if I even, and this is a woman thinking, if I even give birth to this person's kids, I don't have to worry about my kids starving or going to bad schools or my lifestyle being bad. I know I'm going to have a good lifestyle because this person comes from a good background. Or if it means, or if they're guessing, oh, this person must be very hardworking to have all this money, then it's very attractive to them because they're thinking, wow, I would be associated with somebody who's a go-getter, somebody who is more likely to, even if we are in difficult scenarios, to push and to get us out of any bad situation. So I feel very safe around this person.
It's like this person will be my personal superhero.
Exactly. And who doesn't want to have Superman at their beck and call? So, it's attractive. Whether you want to admit it or not, you take the same person who's maybe attractive even without the money, and you give him a lot of money, he will definitely become more attractive. And this is just a fact. So let no one say money doesn't matter. It is not everything, sure, but it influences everything.
Like I said, it ranks up there with oxygen.
Exactly. So it's like, you can have all your money, but you might not be able to get all the girls that I can get without all your money. But I assure you, if you had all that money and still had all this game that you're getting, you would even get better and more girls. And this is just a fact.
It's to be honest with you, it's completely undisputed.
Yeah.
It's completely undisputed.
Yeah.
In the sense that I'm looking at it in this kind of way. You want to do something. You bring her into your world.
Yeah.
You want her to experience your world, not worry about the world that you're in.
Yeah.
Because we all know that people want to be in a place where they're comfortable. That's why people are striving. That's why when you go to the ghetto, people are talking about kuomoka. There's a major reason why people have such kind of conversation, because there's the image that they have in their head that the life that I'll be living. Yes, there are people who are like, there's those people who will have money and show you, and there are those people who will have money and they're like, I can't buy this. It's just that I don't want to. I can't do it. Like, that's a flex in its own.
Yeah, it is.
And you find that it's completely, like, people actually, a guy can brag. You can't talk to me because I went to the dentist last week to get my teeth checked. How many people go to the dentist, like, regularly?
Yeah.
Okay, there are people in their lifetimes, they've never even been to a dentist.
Very true.
So, this
You've
is
reminded me of something, but just go on.
this is like, I don't want to say it's a bragging opportunity, but it's a bragging opportunity. It's a chance that you have. Currently, I'm usually at IHAB. Yeah. Initially, like before last year, I never knew what IHAB is.
Yeah.
But getting to know it and being there, it's made me realize I'm in a very, very privileged position, because it's a big name. And I actually didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
But it's because I was out there and figuring things out that I got to.
Yeah.
And this is all because of money. If I didn't check the house, I couldn't.
Would not be able to.
Because you can imagine if I tell someone, hey, I'm at IHAB, the amount of the image that comes into their head is like, there's startups over there, there's IHAB is a big company.
Yeah.
Jack Ma went there, Obama just came to Kenya to visit that place. Yeah? It's a whole opportunity, because you find that people who go to offices, the offices don't have AC, air conditioning. But in IHAB, you get to experience this. So, like, let's say during the month of January, it was hot. The sun was scorching, to be honest with you. Because while I was out maybe commuting from home to IHAB, you could find that I'm getting sunburned. But on getting to that place over there, I'm like, this place is like I'm at home, yeah? So, I figure there's people out there who are complaining that they don't get this privilege that I'm getting. They'd rather stay at home than go to the office, because at home is much cooler. And this is all in regards to, you have that. You get that opportunity. You have that, how can I say this? There's this advantage that you get when you get money, or you are at a position where you are privileged.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, money is what gives people this privilege. So at the end of the day, you'll say people have bad mouth money. People talk about money is the root of all evil, but it's not really money. It's the love of it. And you should actually be comfortable having this money. And that, I think this is what basically stops people from doing things and going out there, because they have certain beliefs about money. And they don't know how this money can help you, or help you help others in any shape, form, or way. And in accordance with that, I think I should let you tell people what you had remembered, because no.
It was something about the dentistry, but I agree. Even when you're talking about IHAB, and I think I had heard it once or twice. Now that you're saying all these things, now I'm very interested in IHAB. Maybe after this, I'll have a conversation with you. And so I've been seeing a certain someone, right, for quite some time, and they wanted to see a dentist at some point, and so they started seeing a dentist and blah blah blah. And I didn't know it is that expensive to do even something as simple as get braces. Right? And she wasn't really doing this with her parents, So I started footing the bill, and I started realizing, and that's when I started realizing that this dentistry thing is very expensive. I don't know why I didn't maybe even do it as a profession. I started paying for them, and I felt a different way, and even the ability for me to be able to pay, because I asked her to go and do it, right? Is not something I'd be. It's not. Well, how do I put this? If it was, it's not a burden, and so I don't think it is. It is. I'm trying to say. What am I trying to say, and how am I trying to say it? Some of these things, like going out of your way to spend money on someone and just to impress them or blah blah blah. That's the kind of wrong way to go around and
yes, exactly.
But like when it came to this lady, it was not trying to impress her, right? She had a certain feeling about how her teeth made her look, right? And they were not necessarily horrible. It's just that she had, I don't know, they had a name for it. Is it overgrown or blah 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 and blah blah blah? And now I used to go to certain events or certain social gatherings with her, and by extension, she was an image of me. People judge you
by who you're around.
Yeah, by who you're around, what you drive, what car you have, what what job you do, blah blah blah. Even just simply saying you work at IHUB, it means something. It's like, oh, he does this, oh, he's associated or he's affiliated with certain very, So I felt like either I replace this girl and get somebody who looks better on my arm just because of the tooth or two teeth, right? Or I fix the two teeth. And so I was like, this fixing of tooth thing doesn't seem like a huge deal until I got to hear how much it was. But then now, since I'd already committed to the idea, I felt like, let me just go through with it. And even doing something as simple as that, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have the ability. Right? And so, you said, when you said even mentioning that you go to a dentist or you do this and this is a flex, I now understand it's a flex because I didn't know how much these things are expensive, right? I always brushed my teeth, I always did everything, and probably I was lucky that I never had complications with my teeth, right? So I never took a lot of concern, or I didn't hold it in high regard until I came to see the bills. So I agree with you. It's quite a flex if somebody tells you, they went and got my, and they're doing it on their own, not somebody. Then wow,
like even saying it, just saying casually, it casually. That's a level in its own.
Yeah. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. You don't know unless you hang around certain circles. And that means I need to probably improve. Circles.
Anyways,
I also, so I'll talk to you about I have.
It got me thinking that you should put yourself in privileged positions to get to find these things out.
True, very true.
And money will enable you to do that. Because at the end of the day, you can, okay, there's this time that I went to record a podcast with this girl. She's a very, very good friend of mine. I went to record the podcast with her. Then she decided to take me to this restaurant in Sentika. So the manager just came to say hi to her. And then the manager was like, do you want something? Like, it was on the bill because she knew the manager. And we got sorted out because of that. At times, even like getting these cool konnections can sort you out on some kinds of bills or something of the sort. Because there's my sister's friend. He's a big shot somewhere. So he was like, because I was with my sister at that time and we were meeting with him, he was like, you've never been to ziplining in Gong, or was it whatever? He was like, you can be with 3 of your friends, then you call me up, tell me, I'll talk to the owner of this place, then you'll go over there, then you get to enjoy that experience. So it's like, when you put yourself in this kinds of position,
things naturally fall to, things naturally fall to you if you expose yourself to certain, it's true.
Actually, I figure I'm actually figuring that we can go hours and hours on this topic.
Yeah,
but
I've just also realized. I think we we were meant to do several things and we maybe got detracted.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's fine, as long as we're not talking trash and it's actually valuable, then we would like to share. It's in giving, it's in giving that you receive, and it's not even giving to receive. It's just
You just give.
For the sake of giving.
It's because the people who like, I'm giving because I can, not because I have to.
Yeah.
So you can take this episode like it was that kind of an episode, like because we can, because we're in that privileged position to do so, and it's kind of terrible because I figured that the people who are in privileged positions and they don't even know they're in privileged positions. They think that they deserve this because they just exist, And if you actually live, or let's take a hypothetical situation, yeah. Since you say you deserve a good day, yeah. What will make you get that good day? It'll all depend with your action. So it's more on you make yourself a good day than you deserving that good day. So all this work hand in hand with each other. And I think we should wrap it up because on the next episode we're actually going to talk about something that if you want something you need to go get it.
Yeah.
I hope the guys will be as excited as we are about getting into it. So that's all for today, folks. We'll see you guys in the next episode.